Hey everybody, it's Geekopolis here. Alright, so let's talk. Let's be full-on discussion about the Disneyfication of Star Wars and how it has absolutely killed the franchise, or at the very least divided it to such a substantial degree in which people have literally made careers on discussing all the flaws with their product. Now, I don't want to sound like I'm arrogant, but I knew from the moment that Disney bought Star Wars it was going to be a fucking train wreck. So, if you're wondering, oh, well, why did you think that? Disney's a good company. Marvel, they did great with. And that was because the direction Feige had, the fact that they remained true to the source material in a consistent way, where Star Wars took the old material, the established universe, the established characters, the laws, and everything that it used to be a functioning sci-fi space opera universe, and said, fuck it. We're gonna push our own agenda, and if you don't like it, then you're just a hateful piece of shit, and we don't want your business anyways. And they got away with it for the first movie, because the in-your-face agenda wasn't so pronounced in that movie. It was there, and when I watched it in the theaters for the first time, I was disappointed. Actually, I mean, I was like, okay, I didn't like this, and I tried to like it. I really did, and I would hear everybody saying, "Oh, it was such a great movie," you know. And I'm like, really? I don't see it. You know, they didn't have anything interesting. From the very beginning, they got rid of any of the Legends and Extended Universe canon, so that irked me to begin with. Because I was really hoping to see, you know, Leia and Han's children, and Luke and Mary Jade's children, you know, and how they have to, you know, go through, you know, the galaxy and explore their uses of the Force, and how, you know, since they're Skywalkers, some of them get pulled more to the dark side, and God, or the Vaze Dong intergalactic invasion, you know, that just fucking pisses me off. There's so much they could have done, and instead we get fucking Mary Ray and frickin' Emo Ren. This is ridiculous. So, the first movie, The Force Awakens, was basically, in essence, a copy of A New Hope. So, that bothered me, because I'm like, okay, so you're not going to be original. Great, fantastic. So, I knew going in that this was not going to be something that was innovative or taking a story to the next level. It's just going to be a rehash cash grab, and it pretty much was. And I would have been fine with that if they didn't absolutely destroy what came before it. And that is what really pisses me off, and many of the other fans out there who wanted to see a good movie, who wanted to see Star Wars. And the first time I watched The Force Awakens, I did not think that it was Star Wars. And that really comes from the fact that, one, they had really no direction. It felt like it was very directionless. It had no consistency of why people can do what they can do, why they're doing what they're doing, how it got there. It explained nothing. It just said, here's a story. Okay. And if you're starting your own universe, that's fine. You can leave it ambiguous. You know, but if you're building off of 6 other movies, you should probably, you know, elaborate. You know, what happened to the New Republic? what happened with the remnants of the Empire. Is that what Is that what formed the First Order? Is that yeah, First Order. Yeah, is that what formed the First Order? You know, they never explain that. Where is Snoke from? Why is he so powerful? Where has he been? How he corrupted Kylo. Why is Rey so powerful? Why does she know how to fix the Falcon? Why is she such a good shot? Why is she so proficient with the Force? Why can she beat Kylo? All these things are just ridiculous on the face of it, but I gave them a small pass saying, okay, this is the first movie, I didn't like it. If they can fix it in the next one, they'll have to really try, but what they did with Marvel, you know, I had faith in them, and that was really good, so I'm like, you know what, maybe they can capture some of that magic. But, first of all, Marvel and Star Wars are not the same thing. They are very different things. And just because it works for Marvel does not mean it's going to work for Star Wars. Now, saying that, there was one big component of why Marvel worked and Star Wars didn't. And that has to do with fucking Kathleen Kennedy. Kathleen Kennedy is no Kevin Feige. She forces her agenda, this women's empowerment, more diversity, yada, 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 things you've heard from 1,000 of the rest of JWs a million other times. So, that also made me very nervous. Anytime you hear SJW agenda infesting anything, whether it be comics, movies, games, whatever it may be, it should terrify the fandom. Because they will infect it, they will change it, they will ruin it, and then they will leave. They are devourers on a cultural scale. They come in, they kick your things over, break everything, and then say, this sucks, and leaves. I can tell you, the pink-haired feminists that say that America's a patriarchy are not the ones that are lining up waiting for hours to go watch your Star Wars movie. I'm sorry, they're just not. And whether you want to pander to them is honestly one of the stupidest business moves I can imagine. You're not gonna generate as much profit doing that unless you're not gonna generate as much profit doing that as you would if you would simply, you know, make good movies for the fans. You know, make Luke a fucking hero. Make him what we always seen him as, the optimistic, the hopeful, the driven, caring guy who would never let anything happen to his friends without trying to stop it, who would go out of his way to try and turn someone from the dark side to make them good. Vader, literally the second most evil person in the fucking galaxy, you know, he was able to turn. And you're gonna tell me that that guy came to a place where, oh, yep, I'm gonna kill my nephew because I think he might turn to the dark side. Really? You expect me to choke that one down? Okay. That's fine. I haven't quite got to the abomination and travesty that is The Last Jedi yet, so I'll put a pin in that for now. Okay. Back to the my grievances with The Force Awakens. It was just awful when it comes to connecting what is happening now to the past. It explained, like I said, nothing. And that can be overlooked if The Last Jedi was good, which it wasn't. It was the farthest thing from good you can get. Now on to their next little project, Rogue One. that one did pretty well. People don't have too much of a complaint with it, but the characters were so forgettable. Like, I honestly cannot tell you the name of one person in that movie that was not, say Darth Vader. I mean, yeah, it's okay. It wasn't, to me, it didn't grab me. It was like, okay. It's like, you know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of, like, when you're playing a game, like an RPG game or a really long game, and you're like, I'm bored. I've been doing so many of the main quests. Let me go do the side quests. And that's what it reminded me of. And that's what that movie felt like to me. It felt like a side quest in a game. It didn't feel like it really was necessary. Like, okay, you find out why the Death Star has such a massive flaw in its design. But other than that, it's really, there's nothing else to it. It's just like, okay, well, here's the story about the Death Star, and that's about it. And they marketed that movie so much of, okay, it's the next, integral part of why, something big in the original trilogy happened. Like, plus it had Vader, and it had throwbacks, and whatever. But to me, it was just boring. I mean, the best parts of that movie was Vader, and he was in it for, what, 2 minutes? So it's like, okay, how can you market this as a movie with Vader as a star, as you did, but he was in it for like 2 minutes, and that was the best parts of the movie, yes, but you're being disingenuous, because that's not what most of the movie was. There's a lot of talking, a lot of not doing anything, and it just felt very devoid of any soul. But that's just my take on that. But that one, it's not bad, it's just kind of boring. It's not memorable. It's what it is. So, on to, oh God, this one's gonna fucking take me forever. The Last Jedi. Probably, literally, no. It is, with 100% accuracy here, the worst movie I have ever had to slog through. Because of my investment with the originals, and just how bad of a movie it was on its own. Like, not even, just take it away from the fact that it's part of Star Wars. On its own, would it have been a bad movie? Yes, because it's a bad movie. It's not just a bad Star Wars movie, it's a bad movie. It is probably the worst movie I have seen that is A-level. Aesthetically, it looks great. But if that's all you care about, if you care about visuals and sound, audio, then you probably would have liked the movie. If you don't care about storytelling, if you don't care about world building, if you don't care about the events that happened before it, if you don't care about how the events in this movie will affect the events afterwards, if you don't care about any of those things, and you just want to see, big explosions, flashy lights, and, laser sword battles, then you'll enjoy this movie. But if you care about any storytelling, then you probably did not like this movie, or in my case, absolutely fucking hated it. Now, let's see, what was so bad about this movie? I wouldn't be far off by saying everything, but from the very opening tip of this movie, it starts off by joking around and not taking itself seriously in serious moments, which is, again, it's something that Marvel does, but it works for them. Because those characters in those settings, that's what you'd expect them to do. And the villains are not meant to be taken super seriously. They're not meant to be, this, they're meant to be a threat, but not in the same way that, say, the First Order was supposed to be. There's supposed to be tension, and you're supposed to feel a sense of dread with these people coming. So for them just to start keep joking around and laughing and blah 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 blah, it doesn't fit. It doesn't feel natural. It feels like you're just putting it in there, trying to get a cheap laugh from children, I would presume. I don't know who really thinks that these things are funny. I can't stand cringy comedy as it is, and that's a lot of what it was. Like, I'm more of a vulgar comic, as you can probably have guessed, But that was only the very tip of the iceberg, and if that's how you're going to start your movie, that's not a good sign. If you're starting off at a weak note and you continue on these weak notes, your movie is a bad movie. So, comedy really did this movie a disservice in general. But I mean, to start with it, that whole thing with Poe and Huck's little banter thing, that was so stupid. And the fact that, again, okay, don't your ships have point defense? To attack smaller crafts? So you can't really? I mean, whatever. The way they explained it was so friggin' stupid. Ooh, he can't hit him, he's too small and too fast. Then what the fuck are the cannons for? I mean, if you just said, okay, he's an extremely skilled pilot and there's really nobody else like him, I would say, okay, well, maybe he can maneuver it, and the turret gunners are just not as skilled as he is at piloting. So I guess I can make some equipment, or some reasons to why their equipment isn't able to hit him. But to say that the cannons are particularly faulty and designed to not be able to hit that target is ridiculous. And again, this is just in the first couple minutes of the movie. So I can go on for 2-3 hours about this. But there's been people that have done better than I probably could at really articulating why this movie is an absolute travesty. So, moving on to more of this atrocity. Oh god, I fucking hate this movie. Even thinking about it makes my brain hurt. And then you got the bombers, so fucking retarded. Their designs, shit. Their applications, shit. Their results, technically satisfactory, because they did their job, but, they open up their compartments like it's a frickin' bomber plane in space. Again, I don't think that the writers knew how space... Rian Johnson doesn't understand how space works. I know that for a fact. He has no clue what he's doing. So, that's, something I want to talk about, And again, this discussion I'm having is just in the first, 5 minutes of this movie. So, I can go on forever and talk about little nitpicks of the stupid things they did, but I want to get more to the broader things. Now, I did a video about the worst scene in Star Wars history. And that was the scene of Holdo light speeding the Raddus through the Supremacy and subsequently the ships behind it. Now, you can go watch that video if you want me to talk at more length with it, but I'm just going to give a brief explanation of why that is the dumbest thing I have ever fucking seen in my life. 1, that's not how space travel works. You're not in physical space when you enter lightspeed, or else you would crash into things. There's many terrestrial bodies and different meteors, asteroids, chunks of ice, a lot of different things in space you would hit if you're going at light speed. Besides, you cannot go faster than the speed of light when you're in real space. You have to leave physical space to go faster than the speed of light, because light is the fastest thing in real space. The universe expands faster than the speed of light, so that means we can surmise, outside of the physical universe, you can achieve faster than light travel. Okay? So, that's not how that works. 2, I guess you probably could have just done this from the beginning and saved all the people's lives, but no. Okay, that's fine too. I thought you brought a fuel, so you can't say there were just a lot of fuel supply deposits that allowed that explosion, so there's that. Ignoring shields completely. I don't know everything about how shields work, but you'd think that would be one of their primary functions, to stop impacts. Perhaps they only work on laser-based technology, so I could be wrong, but you would think that they would also have a secondary function of stopping physical objects, but I could be wrong, so maybe. And a ship that size should have heavy enough armor to not be destroyed, and even if it did get destroyed, it wouldn't have enough force then to rip the parts off of that said ship and tear through other vessels. And finally, why has this never been done before, and how are you going to explain why you're not going to do it after? I mean, the Clone Wars. Those are droids. They could have done that. No, there's no explanation for that. But, yeah. Absolutely awful. So, the big picture here of just how awful this movie is. Now, let's go on to the second worst thing about this movie, because everything else that I talk about, I could choke down. That scene I just described, no. You can't, because there's nothing you can say. I really, no, I challenge somebody. Somebody, please explain to me how that scene can possibly make sense in any context. Any. And tell me why it has never been done, and why they probably will not be using it again. Because I have to know. And I want to know how it worked. So, anyways, that is the only scene that I cannot stomach, and that has pretty much ruined the entire franchise. Everything else I can maybe make excuses for, which I shouldn't have to. I should not have to make excuses for your movie. I should not have to write the movie for you. That's your job. My job is to enjoy it. But of course you're going to do such a shit job, well. So, anyways. What they did with Luke and Leia's characters, it pisses me off. It really fucking does. I was not thrilled with what they did with Han. Again, because I just don't like the Force Awakens. It was a shit movie. And, oh god, Kylo Ren is the most inconsistent character I think I've ever seen. He switches from being this, brooding, dark knight, dark Jedi, wannabe Vader, blah 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 blah, to being conflicted and not knowing if he wants to really go through with his actions. It's like, yeah, we've seen inconsistencies with characters, we've seen struggles, yes, I understand what they're trying to go for, they're trying to say, okay, like how Anakin was flirting with a line here and there, and he was never really truly evil, and, he never really truly committed to the light either, blah 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 blah. Or with Luke when he was tempted by the dark side on Dagobah. But, honestly, those characters were at least done well. Whatever you have to say about the prequels, at least they were done somewhat with a modicum of grace. With some, you had some emotion to the character. You can say, Hiddleston's acting was not that great, and the dialogue was clunky, but that's Star Wars, okay? I could let a lot of that go. I actually really enjoyed the prequels. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I liked the prequels. I loved the lightsaber battles. I loved how, it really felt like an actual war that they were trying to, to win. Where this just feels like, it doesn't even feel like the rebellion versus the Empire. It feels like one team, the First Order, just curb stomping the other team. It doesn't even feel like it's a war, and that's a problem when you're watching a Star Wars movie. The Resistance. They call them I was going to call them the Rebellions. The Resistance is so meager at this point. It doesn't even matter. It doesn't even feel like a war. But back to the point. I've diverged my topics here. I'm digressing way too much. So, the characters. Killing Luke's character the way they did is probably one of the most disrespectful things I've seen to a well-established character in a very long time. I cannot even think of a time where they've had a long-established character disrespected so heavily. And, it's just disappointing because I went to these movies. I wanted to see what Luke was doing. I wanted to see, did he start a Jedi Academy? Did he, start his family of his own? To be the father that he never got to have with, with Vader. Did Leia and Han, did their love keep them together? Did they have children of their own? No, none of it. Just basically all the ideas that you had for these characters, and you can say, oh, well, that wouldn't create as much conflict. No, it would probably create better conflict because you pretty much, the first 6 movies were basically family drama. Okay, you're telling me you couldn't make something with that? Fuck you. And all of those things that could have been were again replaced with Rey, a character that has about as much personality as a baked potato, and Kylo, who again has about the maturity of a 12-year-old. It's mind-boggling how you go. No, seriously, I challenge somebody to go watch the originals and watch the prequels and then watch these ones, and you tell me which one genuinely has better characters. Even if you don't like some of the people in the prequels, even if you don't like some of the people in the originals, overall they're better. If I'm taking overall, the originals probably do beat out the prequels for me, because I'm just going to say this right now. My ranking goes, my favorite is Revenge of the Sith, because I really enjoyed that movie. I think that movie, especially towards the second half of that, or the final act of that movie, they nailed it. My next would go probably Return of the Jedi, Empire Strikes Back, A New Hope, Attack of the Clones, Phantom Menace, and then I don't even count these as canon, but I'm just going to put them on the list because they're there. The Force Awakens and Last Jedi is at the absolute bottom. But the disparity of those 2 movies compared to the rest of them is like, say those are all hovering around 90s, 80s at their lowest. Some maybe the Phantom Menace is around a 70. Okay? Those other 2 movies, Force Awakens is maybe cracks 50, lucky. Last Jedi, it's at a 0. Absolute fucking abysmal. I honestly could not even, oh, fuck this movie, whatever, fuck them. And fuck Disney. Probably should have prefaced this by saying, if there's small children in the room, you probably shouldn't watch this video. But, yeah, it's just disrespectful to the characters. And Leia didn't fare much better. I mean, they made her into a boring character. She was always a feisty character that would take charge in situations. That's what an actual strong female character looks like, Rey. You're gonna shove in strong female characters, at least make them strong. Or maybe relevant. Phasma. But, yeah, Luke was made into a prop for Rey. A stepping stool. That's all he was. He was nothing more than a prop for Rey. He was beaten in a combat with her. She is better at the Force than he is, apparently. He's turned his back on his friends, something he would never fucking do. He tried to murder his nephew. Okay, I mean, little Anakin, Revenge of the Sith moment there, I get it, but Jesus, I mean, it's one of the darkest moments that, in Star Wars history, which is one of the reasons that I find Anakin to be pretty much irredeemable. I mean, I actually recently watched the Revenge of the Sith, and as I was watching, I was like, okay, that scene, I really have a problem. I can't stand, killing, especially of children. I really have a problem with that. Yeah, I'm a human, cool. But I thought to myself, okay, why is he doing this? He thinks that these children are going to grow up to be enemies, and that they're too corrupted to be saved. That they're going to threaten the Republic. And at that time, he probably believed it. And you could see, until he really became Vader, After his fight with Obi-Wan, he was conflicted. He was crying. He didn't fully embrace the dark side yet. He was conflicted with what he's doing. So I was like, yeah, maybe I can understand why he did it. I still don't like that he did it. But it is a war, and it is, you're gonna have death, but, so whatever. But really, Luke, the guy who was strong enough to reject the dark side, is not gonna, I'll kill this kid. Because, I didn't just spend 3 movies trying to, bring my father back from the dark side, who was far more gone than Kylo is, or Ben. But, you know what? That was too much work. It took me like 3 movies, and I only got like 5 minutes to explain this, so I'm just gonna kill him. I mean, what the fuck? Oh my god. And then, instead of trying to rectify the situation, tell you what? You know what would have been better? Okay? What I could have accepted, take up that fucking scene with Holdo and retcon that shit completely so we can actually save the fucking series in space battles. 2, if you would have started off with that, if that would have been the starting point of the series, and Luke would have had to try to redeem himself, take out Rey, put Luke, make him try to redeem himself. Have it like as the reason he did that is like Snoke manipulated both of their minds and pitted them against each other, and now Luke he went to the island to try and figure out how he could protect himself from Snoke's power. You know what? Would have been happy with that. Would have been fucking thrilled, because that actually would have been a good story. But no, that's not what we got. I'm actually gonna make a video about how they could have done this with what they've provided. Okay. So, that's Luke. They basically murdered his entire character, and he's not what he was. He doesn't even go to the final battle. He just phases out. He just dies. Whatever. So, yeah, it's just embarrassing. And then you got the new characters like Rey, and Finn, and Poe, and Kylo. They're bland. They're rip-offs. They have to step on the old characters to make themselves even relevant. It's like, why? You couldn't really just write these characters as good as characters. You had to go butchering what came before. Can they fix this in the new movie? No, they can't. Because if they do try and fix it, it'll seem like such contrivances, such, gaping, plot holes that they're trying to fix by shoving things in there that just don't make sense anymore. What are you going to do, bring Luke back to life? Yeah, I'm sure you're going to make him a Force ghost and he's going to train Rey that way or some fucking bullshit. Which, I mean, again, I'm actually rooting for Kylo. Like, at this point, I want to see him kill her. Because I'm sick of this Mary Sue bullshitting her way through the galaxy. She can just, Falcon's broke, I'll fix it. Han's not around anymore, I'll fly it. I can understand Wookiee. I'll translate for you, Luke. I'll get Praetorian guards, take them on, no problem. Defeat Kylo Ren, a man trained by both light and dark side by 2 incredibly powerful Force users, no problem. There's no threat anymore. That's the problem going into this next movie. Here's where I'm going to transition. Because I can go on all day about the absolute garbage dumpster fire that is The Last Jedi. So to surmise, awful, world-breaking ship battle, assassination of Luke's character, Leia's character, and leads off with no actual threat. The resistance is reduced to nothing. It doesn't feel like an actual war. It just feels like a squash match. And lead in. Now, before I talk about why Episode 9 is going to be a fucking disaster, there's no way in hell it'll be worse than The Last Jedi, so I guess there's the positive of being at rock bottom. You can't go anywhere but up. But let's talk about the disaster that was Solo. This movie was not particularly bad, but it didn't do anything well. It didn't do anything that was really inspired or interesting or that I even cared about. It was like, eh. Again, it's the same problem that Rogue One has. It's like it's kind of like a side quest. It's just like, eh. It gave me no reason to feel invested. It's just like, I didn't really care for the story anyways. It's just like, okay, you kind of fuck with this character too. It's like, you didn't do enough to Han Solo by killing him. But, I don't know, the story seemed stupid. It was, I don't know, I didn't enjoy it. It was, again, not very memorable to me. I'm struggling to think of anything that really struck me. I mean, the origin of his name was dumb. Like, nobody really asked for that, how he got his blaster. Again, it's things that, like, they kind of, like, throw into, like, homages, but it's like, no one, I don't, maybe people care. I didn't give a shit. It's like, I didn't ask for this, and I don't really care. So, that movie flopped. And that is what gets me excited. These movies have to do bad. These movies have to die. If we are going to get Star Wars back. If we are going to get rid of the evil Darth Kennedy, then these movies have to be defeated. And they have to be defeated where it hurts the box office. No one's buying their toys anymore. Their games are in shambles. Their movies, their newest movie has tanked. They lost, what, $80 million at least? And that's what they say. I'm sure it's probably more. So, this is a good sign, but I'm afraid the people are going to give Episode 9 a chance. And that's going to get their money. And once they got the money, they can give a shit what you say about the product. Look at The Last Jedi and Solo. None of those movies... Solo wasn't really good. It was mediocre, is what it was. But it wasn't offensive. And it bombed. Because, as it should. It wasn't a good movie. Last Jedi did really good. Because people were still high on that nostalgia... And you know, from The Force Awakens, so like, okay, they reminded me so much of the other one, okay, let's go see this movie. And for people like me, that was like, okay, I want to see if they answer the questions I had. It was a fucking bait, is what it was. And that's why that movie did so well financially. But in terms of the fans, it shattered the fan base. Because there's people that truly love that movie. How the fuck... Okay. I don't know how anybody looks at the movie and says good. I don't even know how somebody looks at that movie in terms of a movie and thinks it's good. Let alone in terms of a Star Wars movie. That movie had some of the fucking biggest gaping plot holes. I didn't even get into that shit with Canto Bight and Rose and Finn. That bullshit. You know, and why they've never done certain things with the freaking ships before, how that's even possible, how that works. Why Luke is a fucking pussy now and he doesn't do shit. You know, so many freaking plot points, plot holes, and contrivances that movie just glosses over and expects us to choke down like giant space titty milk. Oh, fuck. Anyways, now that they're starting to take notice because of their bomb movie, which is the only Star Wars movie ever to not make money, Kathleen Kennedy and Roundhead Johnson constantly belittling the fan base, saying the Force is female. Yeah, like that, like, a little on the nose, your agenda there, huh? Which, again, I have no problem with strong female characters, i.e. Leia. You know, didn't have a problem with her. She was great. I think they underutilized her character and fucked her character all the way up, too. But when you just shove a character in there and make her strong because she's a woman and just say, well, girl power, yeah, fuck you, okay? And by the way, I would feel just as annoyed if they just had, you know, a male character come out of nowhere, take the little boy with the broom. If he somehow came out of nowhere and just beat the shit out of Rey and Kylo, I would be like, what the fuck? I would think it's ridiculous, and it's stupid, and it would be stupid. It'd be hilarious, because I can't stand Rey, I think it would be funny, but other than that, I mean... it'd be stupid. It wouldn't make any sense. And I would say how dumb that is, and he would be a Gary Stu. So, you know, it's just annoying and sad what this franchise has become. And as long as we let these people at Star Wars dictate what these movies are going to be, we'll never get real Star Wars back. So, let's talk about why Episode 9, whatever it will be, is going to be a disaster. I kind of glossed over this and talked about it already, but let's talk about it more in depth, huh? 1. What are you going to use as your threat? Because Mary Sue can't lose. She is basically invincible at this point. Luke can't defeat her. Kylo can't defeat her. I'm sure at this movie, I'm sure she probably got even stronger. And I would imagine she would probably smack Snoke's shit by just the start of this movie. She's already proven she can beat Kylo. Snoke's already dead. So, what's going to oppose her? I'm being genuinely serious. What stops her from getting on a spaceship, flying right into they can fire 1 billion bolter shots at her, and she could just use the Force. They wouldn't hit her. Fly right on the capital ship, go in there, kill every single guard single-handedly, bust the entire place up, walk right up to Kylo, stab him in the chest, leave, and crush the ship, and go on and destroy every First Order ship single-handedly. She could probably do it. Nothing can stop her. Bolter fire, she'll just use the Force. Well, we won't even touch her. Kylo, the only person with the Force that can stop her? Nope, he's nothing. He's not even an insect compared to her. She saved him in the Praetorian Guard fight, and she beat him the first time they faced. And she wasn't even trained. Now she has some training. I mean, he's been training his whole life, you know? What's the threat? What? No, I'm being serious. You know, the Rebels basically have nothing, or Resistance basically has nothing. And I still feel like they're the ones that have the advantage. I feel like the First Order is the underdogs because they have Rey. She has not been shown to be stopped once. Every time she's in danger, she wills herself out of it. She's like, nope. Remember the last scene, or one of the last scenes of The Last Jedi? All those boulders, Luke, after months of training, had a struggle to get his TIE fighter, or his X-Wing, out of the swamp on Dagobah. Rey? A mountain full of rocks? Pfft. Child's play. One-handed. It's fucking ridiculous. There is no threat anymore. There is no threat, because you have Rey. So I have no interest in going to the movie, and they're going to try and convince me that she's in danger. She's not. She's never in danger, and she never was in danger, because she is the Mary Sue. She personifies what that means. She is better at everything than anybody because she just is. She's a fucking fan fiction character written by a 14-year-old girl who has depression and wants to seem cool. Okay. Again, I'll reiterate this 1,000 more fucking times because it aggravates me to no end. That spaceship battle has to be explained. Because if they have any spaceship battles, I'll just be like, oh, just fly your ship into it. Doesn't matter. I mean, you just fly your ship into it. You're in danger, just turn around on your ships and fly into it. You see how that's an issue? And the last thing, what are you going to do in terms of characters people care about? Like Luke. Or Leia. Carrie Fisher is deceased. You know, she's no longer with us. You know? And you had, I think you had time to edit that scene where she died, because I believe she died before that movie was released. To edit that part out and say that she passed away because the actress is dead, and then that would have been a fine send-off. But no, she just, again, it's one of the scenes I just went over because there's so much in that movie. But again, characters that people care about. Do people really care that much about Rey and Kylo and Poe and Finn? No. I don't think they do. They went to these movies to see the characters that they knew. I could give a shit about the new characters. Honestly, my favorite character is Kylo. You know, and I'm using the word favorite as lightly as you can use that word. I should say preferred poison. You know? Because he's a shit character too. But at least he's trained to be strong. You know, at least he has somewhat of a motivation, as shit as it is. What's her motivation? I want to be the good guy. Why? Because I'm good. And righteous. My only character flaw? I'm too nice. I'm too kind. I'm too caring. Are you kidding me? That's not a flaw, that's a humble brag. So, with these things being said, I don't see how the episode 9 can be good. I really don't. Is it going to make money? Probably. I hope not. I hope they're fucking tanks. I hope it tanks worse than Solo. But I know how these things work, and they'll probably make money, and they'll probably stay afloat, but it's awful. It's what they have done with this franchise. I mean, you are given a golden goose, and the first thing you do with it is you start beating the shit out of it. Not feeding it, not caring for it, not making it grow and become, produce more eggs for you. You just basically took a shotgun to its head. So that's what The Last Jedi was. You just took a fucking gun to its head, and BAM! No more money for us. I mean, you're gonna get something out of it. You're gonna raid the corpse, so what you're gonna do. And that's what they're doing. Star Wars is dead. Disney killed it, and they're pillaging its corpse for whatever the hell they can muster out of it. And it's sad. And I hope that this movie fails to wake these people up and they can retcon it. That is probably my ultimate, would be the ultimate goal of all this, is to end this, retcon these movies, and start fresh. Say it's 200-300 years after, okay? After the, Return of the Jedi. Okay? Make some, say, and, put the characters, they're descendants of Luke and Leia's children. Okay? Retcon the entire sequel trilogy. Throw that in the trash where it belongs. Burn it with fire. In this case, literally, kill that past. And start new. Start with something. Make it good. I don't care if the protagonist is a man or a woman. I don't care if there's diversity. It can be an all-white male cast for all I care. It can be an all-female cast if I care. As long as the characters are written good. Of course, you should have a mix of characters. I get that. I'm just saying, I don't particularly care what the gender or the race or whatever are the characters. If they are good characters, they're written well, have good motivations, and I can relate to them, then I will watch your movie. If you write a frickin' Mary Sue that I can't relate to, if you write villains that have no threat, if you write gaping massive plot holes in your story that cannot be explained in any possible way, well, your story's fucking garbage. It needs to be destroyed and written out of canon. I don't even consider these canon, like I said before, because George Lucas did not write these. Disney wrote these to grab money from the pockets of people that enjoyed the original trilogy and the prequels. Or people that enjoyed both, like me. I did not watch Solo in the theaters. I didn't go and see it there because I did not want to give money to it. And I am not going to go see episode 9. I refuse. I may have to go do it to make a video on it. But I don't know. I mean, I might just buy a ticket for another movie and then just go into The Last Jedi. Because I do not want to support that movie. Like, I literally fucking hate it. So, I don't know. I seriously might do that because I will not support that movie. And if I have to see it to do a review on it, again, I can't see any conceivable way it'll be good. But let's just hope it bombs and we can get Star Wars back and retcon the fucking shit out of it. All hail the Phantom Menace. Geekopolis out.